"Mom, I can't come home for Christmas." Those words trembled on Emily's lips as tears blurred the screen of her phone. She clutched it tightly in the back of the diner where she had spent the last 12 hours serving coffee, bacon, and sorrow to strangers who didn't notice her exhaustion. The snow outside painted the city streets in a peaceful white, yet inside, Emily's heart was in pieces. Her mother's voice, warm and tender, tried to mask disappointment, but Emily could hear it lingering in the silence between their words. The longing for family, the hope for reunion, the ache of a daughter's absence. For the first time, Emily felt completely powerless. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and miracles, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soulful Stories. Emily wasn't supposed to be a waitress. She had once dreamed of a career in art, of painting canvases that captured the soul of the world, yet life had a cruel way of reshaping dreams. Her father had left when she was 15, leaving bills, broken promises, and a mother who worked double shifts to keep the lights on. College had seemed impossible. Every paycheck went a survival rather than ambition. And now, after years of pushing through exhaustion, heartbreak, and self-doubt, Emily faced a Christmas she feared she could not endure. She sank into a booth near the window, wrapping her arms around herself, feeling the chill of the winter air seep through the cracked frame. Outside, families rushed past, laden with gifts and laughter, unaware of her quiet despair. Emily's hands shook as she typed another message to her mother. "I'm so sorry. I just can't make it this year." Life had a strange way of punishing her, but it also had a way of surprising her. That evening, as Emily wiped down tables, a man stepped in whose presence seemed to command the room without a single word. He wore a tailored navy coat and polished shoes that reflected the warm lights of the diner. The few patrons in the restaurant barely noticed him, but Emily did. Something in his eyes, a soft depth, a gentleness, made her pause. He looked tired, but not in the way most people are tired. He carried the weight of the world and yet seemed unbroken, as if every challenge had been a stepping stone rather than a burden. He approached the counter just as Emily set down his coffee. "Thank you," he said, his voice calm, almost soothing. There was a kindness in his tone that made Emily blink back tears she didn't realize she was holding. She served him quietly, feeling oddly observed but not judged. When she finally mustered the courage to speak, her voice barely above a whisper, she found herself sharing the truth she hadn't told anyone in years: the loneliness, the exhaustion, the impossibility of going home for Christmas. She didn't know why she was telling him. Perhaps it was the snow outside, the warmth of the coffee, or the strange serenity in his gaze that made her feel safe. Without a word, he sat down and listened. There was no interruption, no pity, just an attentive presence that made Emily's heart ache. When she finished, she thought the conversation would end, that her vulnerability had made no difference. But he smiled softly and said something she never expected. "Don't let Christmas slip away because of money, distance, or fear. Some things are bigger than circumstance." That night, Emily closed the diner and trudged to her tiny apartment, the snow crunching under her worn boots. Her apartment was modest: bare walls, a sagging couch, a little kitchen where she often ate alone. Yet that night, the memory of the man's words lingered. She wondered if some people really did have the power to change a life in a single moment. Little did she know, the universe had already started. The next morning, Emily's phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. With trembling hands, she answered, only to hear a voice that sounded familiar, the voice from the diner. "Emily, this is Daniel. I'd like to help you get home for Christmas." Her heart stopped. She laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke, a mistake, a prank. But the voice continued, calm and insistent. Within minutes, she learned that the man, Daniel, was a billionaire philanthropist, known for quietly supporting those who had lost hope. He had noticed her dedication, her kindness to strangers, her resilience in the face of hardship. And he had decided that no one should spend a Christmas alone when they had a family waiting. A private jet arrived at the airport hours later. Emily, barely able to comprehend what was happening, stepped inside. The The cabin was warm, inviting, and immaculate. She sank into the plush seat, tears streaming freely down her face as the realization hit. She was going home. Not in a taxi, not in a train, not slowly scraping together money she didn't have. She was flying, miraculously, to the embrace she had longed for so many years. As the plane lifted off, Emily gazed out the window, the city lights shrinking beneath her, and she felt a release she hadn't known she needed. For the first time in her adult life, she felt seen. Not just by Daniel, not just by the universe, but by herself. She had survived. She had persevered. And now she would celebrate Christmas surrounded by the warmth, laughter, and love she had feared lost forever. When Emily walked through her mother's door, the scent of pine and cinnamon enveloped her. Her mother's eyes welled with tears, and for a long moment they simply held each other, letting the weight of months, maybe years, of longing dissolve into that hug. The world out